Hello, learners. I'm very excited to meet you today, where we continue to look at punctuations. Previously on punctuations, we looked at semicolon, colon, dash, and quotation marks. Well, today we are going to look at apostrophe, parentheses, and ellipsis. Apostrophe. An apostrophe is used to indicate possession or contraction. For example, if we want to show possession, this is how we can use the apostrophe. John's car. John's car. So here, the apostrophe is trying to show that the car belongs to John. Hence, right after the name John, there is an apostrophe and an S that is added. So here, the apostrophe has been used to show possession, that the car belongs to John. Let's take another example. This time, this example is going to show us how an apostrophe can be used to show contraction. If you try to read this, it reads don't, don't. But what is the original version of this? Or how can it be written without contracting it? Contraction is all about cutting words and you image them. There you have it. So don't is a contraction of do not. And this happens especially when talking. People tend to be economical with words every time they speak. Instead of them saying do not, they just go ahead and say don't. Now here, dear learner, I would want to mention to you that every time you are writing a composition, avoid using contractions, but just write them, the words as they are, separately. Do not. Don't. Instead of you writing don't, write do not. Unless in cases like rewrites, that's when you can use contractions a lot, because when it comes to question tags, there's no way you can ask a question without using without bringing in contraction. Here are other examples of words that have been contracted. Can't is a contraction of cannot. Shouldn't is a contraction of should not. Wouldn't is a contraction of would not. There are so many of them, and I mean so many of them. So every time you are writing your composition, make sure you write the words as they are. Do not contract them. Write them separately as they are. Because every time an examiner is marking, they begin to reduce the marks by the number of mistakes that you make. And contraction in a composition is just one of the things that make you lose marks. Your composition may be logical, your composition may be good, but you find that you have lost marks because of the contractions that you have written in your composition. Having looked at an apostrophe, we now go on to look at parentheses. Parentheses. Parentheses are used to enclose additional information or additional explanatory information. Parentheses are used to enclose additional information, 1, 2, or additional explanatory information within a sentence. So there are two things. They are used to enclose additional information or additional explanatory information within a sentence. For example, the event which was held last week in brackets, was a great success. So when we look at what is in the parenthesis, or rather, as you may know, in the brackets, that is additional information or additional explanatory information. That is information providing us which event it is exactly. Because maybe around that time, there could have been a lot of events that happened. So which one in particular are you referring to, which was a great success? So the event which was held last week was a great success. Having looked at parentheses, we can now go on to look at ellipsis and how they are used or how it is used. An ellipsis is used to indicate the omission of words or a pause in speech. An ellipsis is used to indicate the omission of words or a pause in speech. An ellipsis is used to indicate the omission of words. So when someone is writing, they apply or they use ellipsis to show omission of words. They have what to say, but they choose to leave it unsaid. In other words, the writer wants to leave the reader in suspense or wants the reader to fill in the gap themselves, what they feel is supposed to be there. And the other thing that it can indicate is a pause in speech. Just as we know a comma works to show a pause in speech or in a sentence, ellipsis also indicates a pause in speech. Perhaps it could be a longer pause. Let's take some perfect examples where we're going to see how omission takes place or a pause in speech as we use ellipsis. There it is. A very perfect example. I can't believe it's finally happening. I can't believe it's finally happening. So this ellipsis applied here, this ellipsis that is used here, is there to show a pause in speech. So as you read, don't just rush through. Once you see ellipsis, it simply means pause. I can't believe it's finally happening. All right, what about in the case of omission? Here is an example for omission. Let's consider this sentence. She told him that she loved him, but he didn't believe her. She told him that she loved him, but he didn't believe her. The question to you and I, dear learner, is how can we apply ellipsis in this sentence? Don't worry. Very simple, and I will show you how. You see the words which I have underlined? Those words are going to be removed. They are going to be omitted. Then we are going to replace those underlined words with ellipses. And there we go, dear listener and dear learner. She told him, we put ellipsis, but he didn't believe her. So you see that this sentence is leaving you and I in suspense, and that is the whole point of an ellipsis, to make you as a reader fill in the gap. She told him, but he didn't believe her. So there's a lot that someone can be told. Someone can be told that she is traveling to America, or she is traveling to France or Canada, or she wants to buy a car such as a Rolls Royce or any expensive car, but he didn't believe her. But you and I know, because we read the first original sentence, which read, she told him that she loved him, but he didn't believe her. So we know what he was told because we know the original sentence. But if I only presented to you this sentence, you wouldn't have known, meaning ellipsis has played its role. This is how it is used. So my encouragement to you, learner, is that you do a lot of reading. Do a lot of reading. And as you do a lot of reading, all I have taught you will be remembered, and you will understand even more, and you will know how to perfectly apply these punctuations. And as you do that, you will find that you have little or no challenge when it comes to English and writing composition and so on and so forth. For today, we end here, and thank you so much for your undivided attention.